Welcome to this special event. Today we launch the next big version of Nextcloud, Nextcloud Hub 21. It's crazy to remember that this is the fourth big product launch only in the last 12 months. Amid huge challenges in the world, the Nextcloud community stayed focused on our goals and our mission, providing the best and most advanced collaboration platform to as many people as possible. And we do this in a completely decentralized way with open source, respecting the privacy and security of our users. This is completely different than what our competitors do with selling your data and trying to lock you into their clouds. Education is one of the critical topics at the moment. COVID-19 makes it even more important. We need to have a future-proof, secure and easy-to-use infrastructure. Only Nextcloud can provide that. So let's look into the big improvements that we did in the last 12 months. It all started 1 year ago with Nextcloud Hub 18. It introduces the hub concept, integrated office, flow, workspaces, file logging, and many, many more things. Just a few months later, we launched Nextcloud Hub 19 with password-led authentication, mail priority inbox with machine learning, and Nextcloud Forms. And just a few months ago in this fall, we introduced Nextcloud Hub 20 with dashboard, status features, integrated search, and many other things. So before we dive into the product announcement that we have for you here today, I think we should cover a little bit how we actually achieve our goals. And for that, I want to hand over to Mitzi.
This bumpy year has made it crystal clear exactly how digitally dependent we all really are. Not only to chat with friends, but to get things done. It has become really inconvenient not to rely on the internet to do basic things like call an ambulance, register at a hospital, or buy medication. Regardless of the fact that half of the world is online, our institutions and our common infrastructure like transport, water, energy, healthcare have all become dependent and intertwined with the web. Private players are definitely part of providing common infrastructure. However, the interface between the public and the private sector needs to be designed thoughtfully to make sure that strategic risk is brought to reasonable levels for all players involved and that they can enjoy digital sovereignty. It is possible to digitalize without compromise. There will be inevitably some central points. These need to be identified and appropriate checks and balances need to be introduced to these critical inflection points. The security of today goes well beyond keeping out rogue malicious actors towards creating a stable and peaceful interdependent system where every party's power depends on the other and therefore no one party can dominate. This is not a winner-loser model, it is a winner-winner model. Although a global company, the birthplace and geographic location of Nextcloud is relevant. Europe has strategic leverage on a global level on the digital debate because of its strong and wealthy market. I want to be crystal clear here about what I mean. I'm certainly not saying that Europe has some sort of moral high ground, and I'm painfully aware of all the imperfections of Europe, as well as the equally impressive advances around the world. The thing is that European citizens are comfortable enough, privileged enough to demand better. This results in legislation around data protection and competition that gives a framework for multiple diverse players, strong players, to push for alternative solutions. The financial model that drives Nextcloud means that dreams can become reality. There is an alignment between the founding vision and the financial drivers, which is apparent in examples like open source, which are programmed into the fabric of the company rather than an afterthought. Nextcloud has proven itself. The product is live for several years in fields that I care about, like health and education. It is not a concept or a hope, it's practical.
So now let's talk about Nextcloud Hub 21. It comes with a ton of improvements all over the place. For example, in Nextcloud Group there, we improved Nextcloud Mail a lot with a lot of improvements, usability, performance, functionality. The same with Nextcloud Deck, our awesome project management tools, which also got a lot of improvements all over the place. But for this presentation today, I want to concentrate on two main areas. First is collaboration and second is performance. Now I want to hand over to Jan to tell us all about the collaboration improvements.
Nextcloud is all about collaboration. These days, it's more remote than in person, and most of you listening probably work from home. To help with what for a lot of you is a new way of working, we have some really great improvements for more seamless collaboration. Nextcloud Talk is one of our biggest collaboration components. It features chat, voice calling, and video conferencing, including screen sharing, and works with all your devices. I'm happy to present to you what the team has been working on to make your life easier. With conversation visibility, it's super simple for people to join conversations relevant to them. You can set a conversation as accessible to registered users, like your colleagues on your company instance, and optionally also to guest users if you have outside collaborators. You can do this when creating a new conversation or later in the conversation settings. Others can then easily find the conversations via the search and join it. Conversation descriptions allow you to add further info to a conversation. You can find this in the top of the right sidebar. If you have some current announcement, a recurring meeting, or links to more info, add it there. The new send and read indicators show you if a message is sent to a server and if it is read. A single check mark indicates that the message was sent to the server, and double check marks that it has been read. If you prefer more privacy or you just feel bad about leaving people on read, this can of course be toggled off in the privacy settings. If you're often in calls, you will love the new push to talk or push to mute. When your microphone is muted, you can simply press and hold the spacebar to talk. Your microphone will be active only as long as you hold the spacebar. The other way around, when your microphone is on and someone in the office or at home asks you something or there's any loud noise, you can press and hold the spacebar to mute. And another helpful feature for calls is the ability to raise your hand when you want to say something. Simply go to your own controls and raise your hand from there. This shows an icon next to your name, so the moderators and other people notice you would like to talk. This is very helpful for moderated discussions, webinars, and remote learning. Because these improvements are, of course, not all that we have for you in Nextcloud 21. There are more nice new features across Nextcloud to ease collaboration. Document templates make it easier to get started being productive, especially on recurring documents like meeting notes, invoices, and slides. Templates work with text documents as well as Office documents, spreadsheets, and presentations. We created some beautiful default templates for you, and you can of course also use your own. Just put them in the templates folder. Nextcloud Text, which you might know, is our integrated collaborative editor. If you haven't heard of it yet, it supports Markdown for formatting, syncs with your files, and enables live collaboration. When you collaborate on a document, it is now very easy to see who is working on which changes with the optional author colors. You can simply toggle them from the Participants menu in the top right. Additionally, you can open the sidebar and discuss, or even have a call right there without leaving the document. Let's walk through the improvements we introduced in Nextcloud 21, beginning with Nextcloud Talk. You can add descriptions to conversations to give them more context. Just go to the right sidebar and add further info there. In the conversation settings, you can make the conversation visible for colleagues as well as for guests, so other people on the server can find it and join. Of course, you can still simply share a link for the conversation, so people who do not use Nextcloud can join as well. The lobby is useful when you organize an event with many participants, like a webinar. In the conversation, messages now show if they have been read or not. One checkmark indicates that the message was sent, 2 checkmarks that it was read. If you prefer not to share your read status, you can of course disable this in the privacy settings. During a meeting, you can now use the spacebar to temporarily mute or unmute yourself. You can also raise your hand to get the attention of other participants. That gives a quick idea of what is new in Talk for Nextcloud 21. Let's look at the collaboration improvements we did. Templates help you get started with documents, spreadsheets, or presentations. We prepared some nice ones for common tasks like meeting notes, invoices, and slides. If you don't know it yet, this is Nextcloud Text, our collaborative text editor. You can now enable author colors so you can easily track who wrote what. In the templates folder, you can simply edit templates or add your own. This is how collaboration will get even easier with Nextcloud 21. But there is more. Let me now get to our biggest upcoming addition. We are very happy to announce Nextcloud Whiteboard. This is a fully collaborative whiteboard inside of Nextcloud. You can see the cursors of others, draw lines and shapes, write text, add pictures, and annotate together. Since the whiteboards are saved among the regular files, you can collaborate however you want. You can have a call in Nextcloud Talk and work on a whiteboard with the participants. And you can even share a link with people outside of your Nextcloud. It's just as easy. A presentation mode makes others follow your view so they are automatically focused on what you are talking about or noting down. And of course, we included 2 templates for the whiteboard as well to get you started. One for a SWOT analysis and an impact effort matrix. We work together with the open source whiteboard software SpaceDeck to integrate all of this nicely into Nextcloud. We are very excited about Nextcloud Whiteboard and we look forward to see what you will do with it.
Thanks a lot. Over to Jos for another set of big improvements we have for you in Nextcloud 21.
For Nextcloud 21, we wanted to introduce an improvement that will benefit all of our users, better performance. So we profiled and optimized Nextcloud. In the next few minutes I want to go through some of the most significant changes that we did. So Nextcloud is a very modular platform. That means a lot of its features come in apps. And on the page load, these features have to be loaded from the apps. And with more apps came longer loading. So we reworked this code to not scale with the number of apps, but always go equally quick. After loading of the apps, each of the apps had to load its translations. And with hundreds of languages available for Nextcloud, this started to take more and more time. So we centralized the loading of translations, which made it up to 3 times faster. Nextcloud is also very nice theming support, including a dark mode that can follow your browser settings. So we now no longer check and update the theming on every single page load. Of course, the fastest work is work you can completely avoid, and this is double true for database requests. We worked hard to eliminate several database requests that happen on every page load. We also noticed that loading of the comments took a while. For every file in the folder there had to be 2 requests, and we optimized this to only need a single database request for all the files in the folder. As you can see in the graph here, with more files, this means a lot less requests compared to how it is in Nextcloud 20. Now, of course, some requests are unavoidable, but we still managed to make those 10% faster. So all in all, this Nextcloud release should significantly reduce the load on the database. Now, for big servers, we also introduced a change, configurable update interval for device tokens. These device tokens are used to check session activity. Users can see if their browser or their desktop client has been active, and this is checked once every minute. But on big servers, this adds up. So we allow a system administrator to reduce this load by 80% by decreasing it to 1 check per 5 minutes. And next I want to talk about a couple of very specific improvements we made, but first let's talk about PHP 8, which is supported by Nextcloud 21. This major new release introduces several improvements that can make the performance up to 10% faster. So all these changes help every single Nextcloud server out there. And now we want to talk about a couple of specific areas where we made even bigger performance improvements, like storage and user management. So the text tab is used a lot for collaboration on notes. And a lot of customers say that their users have often multiple text files open in tabs. And each of these text files introduces a constant load on the server by checking every now and then for changes. We eliminated this by introducing an idle mode after 30 minutes. We also worked hard to decrease the impact of an active session by over 25%. So all in all, the load from Nextcloud text on a big server can be decreased by 50% or more. And these live servers are often using object storage, and we optimize the number of common operations. So for example, a copy operation is no longer going through a Nextcloud server, which can increase the performance by up to 100 times. For object storage, we also introduced a setting to skip the bucket check, and this can shave off 12 milliseconds of every request to the storage. We also optimized certificate handling, which at one customer showed 15% better response time. Another customer saw that the trash can get pretty slow if you have a lot of files, like tens of thousands or even millions. And we optimized this to be more than twice as fast. We also optimized user group handling, making it 3 times faster. And there were many more improvements. For example, installation and updates is up to twice as fast thanks to some database optimizations. Updates to accounts, like changing your username, are now 10 times faster. The App Store page loads faster, and many more. So altogether, Nextcloud Hub 21 is a lot faster, and you just need to update to get all the benefits from this improved release. Now, as a system administrator, it means you can add more users to your server without having to upgrade the hardware. And that's really good, but we wanted to do more. That is why we are introducing the high-performance backend for files. Now let me explain a little bit what this does. The Nextcloud is built on the most popular technologies on the web, and this brings many benefits. It is easy to deploy, administrators know how to scale it up, which you can see, for example, by how easy it is to build a cluster for tens or hundreds of thousands of users for Nextcloud. It also enabled us to build global scale, our innovative architecture that allows a single Nextcloud instance to scale across continents to tens or even hundreds of millions of users. But there are constantly new technologies emerging on the web, and these new technologies bring new opportunities. And we wanted to bring the best of both worlds to our users. So we are introducing today an optional high-performance backend for files. And this backend is written in Rust and allows permanent connections to our desktop client. So what is the impact of this change? Well, first of all, for a user, it means no more waiting. Normally, the client would check every 30 seconds if files have changed on the server. But with the permanent connection, the client is immediately notified and can start syncing right away. This also impacts notifications because they are also instant right now. So when a file is changed or shared with you, or when a notification is generated because somebody commented on a file or even an incoming call, you will know right away from the desktop client. So for an administrator, there is also a significant impact of this change. So a client would check in almost 3,000 times per day with the server to see if there are any changes. And by reducing the interval of that from once every 30 seconds to once every 5 minutes, we decrease the number of requests to the server by 90%. Now, as a bonus, we also introduced this for our web interface, which also means instant notifications in our web interface and less load on the server. At the Event Cloud, 36 educational and research institutes are using Nextcloud, and we did some measurements there. In a 50-minute period, 250,000 requests were made from clients to the server, and this represented 2/3 of the network connections to their systems. To hear what this change can mean, let me introduce you to Dr. Thomas Hildmann. He is responsible for the cloud infrastructure of these 36 universities and research institutes at the TU Berlin.
Hi, I'm Thomas Hildmann from TU Berlin. We are providing Nextcloud for about 24,000 users at our university and more than 30 other members of the DFN, the German research network, with about 40,000 users. While I'm recording this, you get about 400,000 requests at the last 50 minutes on our web front ends. More than half of them are prop-find requests from the clients. If we could decrease these requests, this would not only lower the load on our web front ends, also our network components like firewall and load balancers would be spared. We are very excited about the upcoming release, expecting performance improvements by decreasing requests and load, which will allow us to scale up without having to purchase more hardware while giving the users a better experience.
Well, as you can hear from Dr. Thomas Hildmann, there's a big opportunity for improvement here, and we look forward to see the results of our high-performance backend at our customers and users. So all in all, Nextcloud Hub 21 is faster, more scalable and more responsive. For users, that can mean up to twice faster loading of pages. For administrators, it can decrease the load on the server by up to 6 times. Let's go back to you, Frank.
So what is the summary? Nextcloud Hub 21 brings significant improvements in all areas. For example, in groupware, where we have a complete new version of Nextcloud Mail with a lot of new features and performance improvements. We have a lot of new things in Nextcloud Deck, which is our project management tool. We have significant improvements all around collaboration, specifically Nextcloud Talk, where you have a lot more functionality, a lot more power, what you can do. And of course, we have the performance improvements. With our new high-performance backend, it really helps to make Nextcloud Hub faster and also more scalable, especially for very big installations. So as always, everything we do is open source, and it's also available today. So you can go to our website and download it and host it yourself. So this is all what I wanted to share with you today. So thanks a lot and have a great day.